What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Just me for now. Hopefully, Logan will be on in a bit. But hope everyone's having a great week, great start to the week, and really interesting and kind of weird weekend of football. A lot of upsets, especially in college football, but in the NFL as well. A lot of twists and turns also as we get to um, past the halfway point. Many teams still to play their sixth game in college, but getting closer to the first CFP rankings coming out on Halloween night. Should be interesting there. And NFL wise, we're just rolling along into the second month of the season here as we completed week 5 this weekend. So let's hit college football. First, we picked one game on Friday night there. Oklahoma State upsetting Kansas State 29-21 in Stillwater. Alan Bowman, the guy that Coach Gundy eventually picked after they were having some quarterback shuffling. They were playing a couple each game. But went with Alan Bowman the whole game this one, and he played pretty well. 19 of 35, 54.3%, 235, 5 carries, 14 yards. Will Howard did not play well. The turnovers were paramount to the loss here after, even though it ended up just a one-possession game. But great game on the ground, not so great through the air for the Wildcats quarterback. 15 of 34, 44.1%, 152, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. 10 carries, 104 yards, though, and a touchdown to lead the game, second in the game in rushing, leading Kansas State in rushing, though. For the Cowboys, Ollie Gordon, the second, he led the game in rushing. Big night for him. 21 carries, 136 yards, a touchdown, and 1 catch for 5 yards. The leading receiver in this one, Oklahoma State wide receiver Jaden Bray, 4 catches, 77 yards. And my defensive player of the game's got to go to the guy with the pick 6, Oklahoma State safety Cameron Epps, 5 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass deflections, 2 picks, one of them a 35-yard pick 6. Oklahoma State plus 12, they win outright under 54. And by the way, got my Pens jersey on, Pens hat. Hockey season, got the black and gold background here, black and yellow, whatever you want to call it. And got a good team this year. I'm excited for the Penguins start tonight against Jimmy's Blackhawks. So we'll see that in a little bit, an hour and a half about game time start, 8 Eastern. But anyways, the Red River rivalry, again, got to say that slow. Tough alliteration. Can't get through it very easily. A shocker, number 12, Oklahoma, 6-0. They were the first team to become bowl eligible this season. 34-30 over number 3, Texas. Both quarterbacks played outstanding. Quinn Ewers, it's hard to fault him for the loss, but the turnovers were killer, just like Will Howard there on the last game. 31 of 37, 83.8%. Ultra efficient for Ewers. 346 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and a fumble. Crazy thing is, this kid's only a true sophomore, so we're going to get one more year of Quinn Ewers at least. Should definitely be up for the Heisman in 2024, especially as we expand to 12 playoff teams and Texas moves to the SEC. As will both of these teams. Dylan Gabriel, though, throwing the game-winning touchdown, killed Texas all day with his legs. 23 of 38, 60.5%, 285, 1 touchdown, 14 carries, 113 yards on the ground, and a rushing score as well. Another sophomore, I believe, if I can recall his exact draft stat. Yes, Jonathan Brooks is a sophomore as well. Another sophomore having an outstanding season and game in this one. Jonathan Brooks, the running back for the Horns, 21 carries, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 receptions, 34 yards as well. Excellent game for him once again. Oklahoma's running back Tawee Walker scoring twice on the ground. Oklahoma wide receiver Jaleel Farouk led the game in receiving. Big day, 5 catches, 130 yards. Also, 100-yard performance by Texas's wide receiver Jordan Whittington, 10 catches, 115 yards for him. And defensively, 2 guys there. One on defense, Oklahoma defensive lineman Ethan Downs, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. And then Texas defensive back Malik Muhammad, he recovered a Oklahoma blocked punt in the end zone for a Texas score. Oklahoma +4 wins outright over 62 by a couple. Number 4, Ohio State, still undefeated, 37-17 over Maryland. And this thing was close, man. The Terps had it. I was feeling really good through 3 quarters about my lone wolf on the Terps in Columbus. They really just pretty much gave up in the 4th quarter once they got down by, I think, 2 scores or whatever it was. So it was kind of heartbreaking to watch, but yeah, like I kind of said, Maryland's Ohio State's talent eventually won out in this game. Kyle McCord for the Buckeyes, 19 of 29, 65.5%. Career high, I believe, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns. Talia Tagovailoa struggled a lot of the day. 21 of 41, 51.2%, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 11 carries, 21 yards, and a rushing score. There were a lot of concerning decisions in terms of play calling and situational decision making by Coach Locksley in this game. First one was down near the goal line early. Maryland kicked the field goal when they were on about the 2 or 3 yard line, I think. And I was sitting there, I was like, bro, what does 3 points do for you while you're on the road against a top 5 opponent? I think it does nothing. Does not give you momentum. 7 points gives you momentum. I understand you might not get it. But to that point in the game, Ohio State's offense hadn't done anything. So maybe it would have given Ohio State momentum earlier in the game than they already got later in the second half. But I think Maryland would have been hard-pressed to get 7 instead of 3. And even if you get stopped, I think Maryland's defense was balling out at that point in the game. They could have possibly gotten a safety out of it anyways, with how badly Kyle McCord started the game. There was another, the second thing, decision-making wise, was Talia Tagovailoa not getting any points in the drive that ended at halftime. Threw a ball short of the sticks, was not able to get a spike in time. So that was really disheartening to watch as well. And then the last thing was Coach Locksley's 4th down decision making, or 3rd down and short. I understand, like, they were running the ball pretty well all day, but why do you have I believe he's a 6th-year quarterback in Tagovailoa. Why do you have a 6th-year quarterback if you're not going to trust him to get you the yards that you need in key situations? So a lot of questions that I had with Maryland in this game, but good performance on the road overall. Still 5-1, still in a good spot. In terms of the overall picture. Ohio State did cover -17 with a last-second field goal. I know a lot of people were pissed in the betting world about that one. Under 56.5, though. How about the barn burner in Columbia? Number 23, LSU, upsetting number 21, Missouri, 49-39 on the road there. Brady Cook, again, he balled out. I mean, the 2 interceptions, I understand. But this was a quarterback duel all the way. Brady Cook, 30 of 47, 63.8%, 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Quarterback Jaden Daniels there. I forgot to mention, by the way, the rest of the stats in the Ohio State game. My bad. Running back Chip Trayanum for the Buckeyes, leading the game in rushing, 20 carries, 61 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception, minus 18 yards. Of course, the way that Ohio State got momentum in the second half was throwing it to number 18. Marvin Harrison Jr. led the game in receiving, massive day once again. 8 catches, 163 yards, and a touchdown. And then defensively, I had to go with the guy that scored a defensive touchdown, Ohio State safety Josh Proctor, 7 tackles, 6 solos, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a 24-yard pick 6. Now to the LSU game. Like I mentioned, Brady Cook stats there. Jaden Daniels, though, again, balling out. We know this LSU team offensively is electric. It's just defensively, they've been giving up a massive amount of points. But Jaden Daniels continued to play well. 15 of 21, 71.4%, 259, 3 touchdowns, 15 carries, 130 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. The ground game just destroyed Mizzou's defense all day. Daniels did come up with a back injury a little bit during this one. Nussberger came in there for a little bit. LSU's running back Logan Diggs led the game in rushing, 24 carries, 134 yards, a touchdown. Another 100-yard rusher was on the other side for Missouri, running back Cody Schrader, 13 carries, 114 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns on the day, hat trick there. 2 catches, 11 yards. And, of course, my guy, Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III. This guy is something else, and I understand why. This is why he's getting, he should be getting Heisman hype as a non-quarterback, because he does stuff like this week in and week out. 11 receptions, 149 yards. He didn't score, but he is one of the most electric wide receivers you'll see in the college game right now. As is wide receiver Malik Neighbors for the other side on LSU, 6 catches, 146 yards, a touchdown. He continues to have a great season. And defensively, I got to go with the pick 6 there. LSU safety Major Burns, 4 tackles, 3 solos, and a 17-yard pick 6 that ended the game. LSU -6 covers over 63.5. Like I mentioned, barn burner there, 88 points. Badgers getting it done at home, 24-13 over Rutgers in Madison. Gavin Wimsatt led the game in passing for the Scarlet Knights, 16 of 35, 45.7%, 181 yards, a touchdown, a pick, 9 carries, 43 yards. Also, Evan Simon came in late in this one, 2 of 3, 66.7%, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Tanner Mordecai for the Badgers, decent day, 17 of 31, 54.8%, only 145 yards, though, 1 touchdown, 11 carries for 50 yards. Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen, 100-yard performance for him, 21 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown, and a fumble, 2 receptions for 14 yards as well. Badgers wide receiver Will Pauling led the game in receiving, 8 catches, 68 yards. And defensively, another pick 6. Wisconsin corner Ricardo Hallman, 2 tackles, both of them solos, a pass deflection, and a 95-yard pick 6. Rutgers covers plus 12.5 and under 44. How about another barn burner here? NC State. Close one over Marshall, 48-41. I think I said under on Friday. It wasn't even close. I was super impressed. I didn't watch the whole game in this one, but the part that I did watch at the end, Super impressed by Marshall's quarterback Cam Fancher. Who is a junior, I believe. Redshirt sophomore. So still pretty young for Cam Fancher there at Marshall. So they got a good one for the next couple of years, probably. But yeah, I was very impressed by him. 29 of 51, 56.9%, 315, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 20 carries, 25 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. NC State starting quarterback MJ Morris for the first time this season, as he is the quarterback they are going with for the rest of the year. 17 of 32, 53.1%, 265, 4 touchdowns. But the 3 picks allowed Marshall to stay in this game and keep it close as the 2 quarterbacks traded 3 turnovers apiece. Or actually, Morris was -1 to Fancher there. Fancher just having the 2. NC State running back Michael Allen leading the game in rushing, 9 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, 100-yard day for NC State wide receiver Kevin Concepcion. 8 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's had a fantastic season. The freshman, I believe. Yeah, the true freshman there for the Wolfpack. Also close to 100, but scoring twice as well. Tight end Trent Penix for the Wolfpack, 3 catches, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. And defensively, I'm going to go with another defensive touchdown here. Marshall's defensive back Josh Moten, 2 tackles, 1 solo, and a 27-yard pick 6. NC State -6.5 covers by the hook over 44, almost by both of these teams. 89 in that game. UCLA, the upset. Number 13, Washington State, 25-17. Dante Moore didn't really win this game. I think the UCLA defense and Carson Steele did, but Moore here, the true freshman, 22 of 44, 50%. 290, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Cam Ward for Washington State having a good season. Not so good in this game. Struggled a lot. Like I said, the Bruin defense was pretty stout all day, especially because they made Washington State one-dimensional. You can see Nakia Watson was their leading rusher, and he couldn't do anything. Cam Ward, 19 of 39, 48.7%, 197, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I mentioned Carson Steele for the Bruins there, the Ball State transfer. I love Carson Steele. 30 carries, 140 yards, 1 reception for 2 yards. Leading the game in receiving, Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams, the UNLV transfer. 8 catches, 85 yards. A good season for him so far. And then UCLA wide receiver Keegan Jones, just one catch for 6 yards in the passing game. But on the ground, he ran 3 times for 45 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Defensively, what do you know? Another pick 6 here. Washington State's defensive back, Kapena Gushikin. 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and an 88-yard pick 6. UCLA -3 covers under 60. Number 5, Florida State. The Seminoles stay undefeated. 39-17 blowout of Virginia Tech. Now, this one was closer early in the game, but Florida State eventually pulled away with their rushing attack of Trey Benson and Lawrence Toafili. Excellent backs there for FSU. Jordan Travis, pretty easy day for him. 18 of 24, 75%, 170, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries for 25 yards. Virginia Tech quarterback Kyron Drones, the Baylor transfer, 14 of 27, 51.9%, 104 yards, 14 carries, 80 yards. Massive day for Seminoles running back Trey Benson, 11 carries, 200 yards, 18.2 yards per carry, had 2 long touchdown runs. to go along with 3 catches for 15 yards. Also want to mention Virginia Tech running back Bashul Tudun. Good game for him. 8 carries, 29 yards, and a rushing score. Also had a 99-yard kick return touchdown. Leading the game in receiving, Florida State's wide receiver Johnny Wilson, 4 catches, 54 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day. And defensively, I'm going to go Florida State. Defensive lineman Jared Verse, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Virginia Tech did cover plus 23.5 by 1.5 there, over 52.5. Number 11, Alabama, close one over Texas A&M at Kyle Field in College Station, 26-20. Jalen Milroe, pretty good in this one. Maybe his best game of the season so far. 21 of 33, 63.6%, 321, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Texas A&M quarterback Max Johnson struggled against the Bama defense a little bit. 14 of 25, 56%, 239, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Texas A&M running back Le'Veon Moss led the game in rushing, 16 carries, 49 yards, a touchdown, and a Cat 1 11-yard reception. The biggest thing in this one, though, was the Alabama wide receivers, specifically Jermaine Burton, the Georgia transfer from 2 years ago. Just an outstanding day. 9 receptions, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. His teammate there, Isaiah Bond, also close to 100 there. 7 receptions, 96 yards, and a score. Defensively, first game we don't have a defensive touchdown. So I'm going to go, how about the day by Texas A&M linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. 11 tackles to lead the game, 6 solos, 3 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. Alabama minus 2.5 covered, over 45 by Uno. Number 14, North Carolina. The Tar Heels are undefeated, 5-0, 40-7, drubbing of Syracuse in Chapel Hill. Drake May, amazing day. 33 of 47, 70.2%, 442 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 14 carries, 55 yards, a rushing score. Only blemish on his record, the 1 fumble he had. Syracuse struggled on offense all day. Garrett Strader just could not get anything going. 15 of 21, 71.4%, 124 yards, a pick, 10 carries for 28 yards. Orange quarterback Carlos Del Rio Wilson came in late, completed 1 of his 2 passes, 50%, 5 yards, and a pick. Also had a 14-yard run. UNC running back Omarion Hampton led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 78 yards, 3 receptions, 25 yards. A couple 100-yard receivers in this one for the Heels. Nate McCollum, the Georgia Tech transfer, 7 receptions, 135 yards, and Kobe Paysauer, 3 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy there, Syracuse defensive lineman Kevon Darton, 3 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. UNC covers easily, minus 9.5, under 59. Go Dogs, number 1, Georgia, halfway to 12-0, 6-0, 51-13. Absolute obliteration of Kentucky, number 20 Kentucky. Carson Beck, this is his best game of the season. And like I've kept telling people, he's been getting better every week. And he deservedly should be in the Heisman conversation, especially after this performance. 28 of 35, 80%, 389, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Kentucky's quarterback, Devin Leary, 10 of 26, 38.5%, 128, 2 touchdowns, was erratic with his throws a lot of the night. And just could not handle the pressure of the Georgia defense. Georgia also played quarterback Brock Vandegrift for a bunch in the fourth quarter. 5 of 7, 71.4%. 46 yards, a touchdown, 2 carries for 27 yards. Kentucky running back Ray Davis led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 59 yards, 2 receptions, 36 yards, and a receiving score. Georgia tight end Brock Bowers, another outstanding game, and he is in the Heisman conversation for sure. 7 receptions, 132 yards, and a touchdown. Georgia's wide receiver Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint also 1 yard short of 100, 4 catches, 99 yards, and a score. Defensively, I'm going to go with Georgia linebacker Jamon Dumas Johnson, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss. Georgia minus 14.5 covers easily. Over 47, Georgia by themselves. Number 2, Michigan, matching Georgia's drubbing 52-10 over Minnesota. But I will say Georgia played a top 25 team. Minnesota is not even close to the top 25. So J.J. McCarthy, pretty good game for him. 14 of 20, 70%, 219, 1 touchdown, 4 carries, 17 yards, 2 rushing scores. So 3 total for McCarthy in this game. Jack Tuttle also came in, the Indiana transfer late, completed both of his passes for 22 yards, also had an 18-yard run. Minnesota quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis struggled mightily. They couldn't do anything offensively. 5 of 15, 33.3%, 52 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks there. Michigan running back Blake Corum led the game in rushing, 9 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Leading the game in receiving, Michigan wide receiver Cornelius Johnson, 3 catches, 86 yards. And defensively, we had 2 pick sixes in this game. Michigan defensive back Will Johnson, 1 tackle, it was a solo, and a 36-yard pick 6. And then Michigan defensive back Keon Saab, 28-yard pick 6. Defensive players of the game there. Michigan covered minus 18.5 easily. Over 46, Michigan by themselves. Number 16, Ole Miss getting back on track, 5-1, 27-20 win over Arkansas. A little closer than we all thought, probably. KJ Jefferson for the Razorbacks here, 25 of 39, 64.1%, 250, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 17 carries, 11 yards. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart, not a big day for him, but he got help on the ground. 16 of 25, 64%, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 12 carries for 33 yards. Mentioned the ground game for Ole Miss. Running back Ulysses Bentley IV. He led the game in rushing, 13 carries, 94 yards, a touchdown, and 1 reception for 0 yards. Leading the game in receiving, Arkansas tight end Ty Washington, 7 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day for him. And defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom guy there in the losing effort, Arkansas defensive lineman Trajan Jeffcoat, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. Arkansas plus 13 covers easily, under 61.5. How about the Louisville Cardinals? Number 25 Louisville, 6-0, upsetting number 10 Notre Dame, and not just upsetting, but beating them by 2 scores. 33-20 in Louisville, Kentucky. Sam Hartman, not a great game. 5 total turnovers for the Irish quarterback there. 22 of 38, 57.9%, 254, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, and 2 fumbles. Louisville quarterback Jack Plummer, efficient, no turnovers. 17 of 24, 70.8%, 145, 1 touchdown. Got a lot of help from the ground game, though, as well. Cardinals running back Jawar Jordan went off. 21 carries, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Louisville wide receiver Jamari Thrash, the Georgia State transfer, led the game in receiving. 8 catches, 75 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble. Also want to mention Notre Dame tight end Mitchell Evans continues to have a great season and be their leading receiver. 4 catches, 71 yards, a touchdown. Defensively, it's a tough one. I think I'm going to go with Louisville defensive back Devin Neal. 8 tackles, 2 solos, a half a sack, half tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 2 picks. Louisville plus 6.5 wins outright, over under 53 pushed. How about the Yellow Jackets? Another upset. Georgia Tech 23-20 over number 17 Miami, Florida. Yeah, this was interesting decision. Mario Cristobal has been getting heat all week about this thing. All that the Canes had to do was kneel the ball. Kneel the ball, and you win the game. They decided to run the ball, and subsequently fumbled. And this is where we're at. So, yeah, Logan, you came on a perfect time. I just got into the Mario Cristobal issue there in Coral Gables.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah. Yep. Just it's one of those things, man, where you're like, hey, maybe karma does exist. It's kind of out there, like because I think someone went back and they were like, this is Cristobal's MO. He does this like all the time. It's like he doesn't believe in kneeling. Well, at some point it's going to bite you. Like, I'm all for it if you're like up by 2 scores and it's like mathematically impossible for the other team to go back or to come back. But like, this isn't Madden, like where it's just, like the odds of a fumble occurring aren't high. Like, I mean, if you run with time left, I mean, everyone on the defense is, look, it's just, a strip practice. Like it's, it's the Peanut Tillman drill. Like, just try and get the ball up. And they did. So, I mean, look, yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech deservedly won the game. And I saw a tweet. Someone was like, look, I don't believe in one fireable type offenses for like a coach, but like if I did, like this would be up there. And it is, because like Miami was undefeated. This likely tanks their CFP chances, like completely nukes it.
Yeah. I would say I don't think people are giving enough credit though to Georgia Tech, because okay, you get the turnover, right? But then you still have limited time, no timeouts, to go down the field. I think it was the game winner was a 44-yarder, but they had a play before that as well, I think. So credit to Haynes King as well. And also another bloop on Miami's part was, how do you let a guy get wide open behind you when they have so far to go in limited time? So
right. Yeah, there was no one within like 10 yards of them.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see what Miami does going forward. But Van Dyke didn't play well. This looked like I didn't watch this game, but based off the stats, this looked like 2022 Tyler Van Dyke, not how he had been playing this whole season. 24 of 36, 66.7%, 288, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions really kept the Jackets in this one. For Haynes King, though, like I said, not a great game, but he made the play when he needed to. 12 of 25, 48%, 151, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 10 carries, 46 yards, a rushing score as well. Miami running back Donald Chaney Jr., 100-yard day for him, 24 carries, 106 yards. Kind of came out of nowhere. I had never heard of him until this game. I thought Henry Parrish was their leading rusher, but not efficient for Parrish in this game, even though he did score. Guy I do love on Miami, though, wide receiver Xavier Restrepo. He led the game in receiving, 100-yard day, 12 catches, 123 yards. Georgia Tech wide receiver Christian Leary, the recipient of the 44-yard game winner from Haynes King, his only reception of the day. Makes it a little bit more special there. And defensively, I hate when ESPN does this. The defensive stats were all messed up, and they didn't have like everyone's tackle stats. So I put what I could on here. So I guess I'm going to go with the guy that has a tackle, Georgia Tech linebacker Paul Mawola. One tackle, one solo, one sack, one tackle for loss. Georgia Tech as a 19-point underdog wins outright, under 57. This is another one we got wrong. Wyoming. How about them Cowboys? 24-19, upsetting number 24 Fresno State. And I said right at the end of this preview on Friday when Jimmy and I were talking about it, I was like, Laramie. I was kind of half joking. I was like, Laramie at night, man, could get you. And it did. It got the Bulldogs of Fresno State no longer in the undefeated sphere. But Mikey Keene didn't play badly, just not well enough, and not as well as Andrew Peasley was playing. 23 of 35 for Keene, 65.7%, 218, one touchdown. Logan Fife came in. I don't know if that was injury related or performance because, like I said, Keene wasn't playing terrible and he didn't have any turnovers. So, but Fife, though, 7 of 11, 63.6%, 68 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Mentioned Andrew Peasley for Wyoming, 19 of 27, 70.4%, 183, 3 touchdowns, 4 carries for 25 yards. Wyoming running back Harrison Whaley leading the game in rushing, 22 carries, 83 yards, 2 catches, 14 yards. Big night for Fresno State wide receiver Jalen Moss, 9 catches, 115 yards, a touchdown, lead the game in receiving. 2 touchdown night for Cowboys wide receiver Wyatt Weiland, 5 catches, 50 yards, and the 2 scores. And defensively, I'm going to go with Fresno State safety Maurice Norris Jr., 6 tackles, 4 solos, 3 pass deflections, 2 back-to-back good games by him, and a good season so far. That's why I added him to my my prospects sheet. Wyoming plus 5.5 wins outright. Over under 43 pushes. 2 pushes for the totals in college football this week. Barn burner in Berkeley. Number 15 Oregon State 52-40 over Cal. How about DJU? 19-25, 76%, 275, 5 passing touchdowns, 5 carries for 14 yards. This is his second game, I believe, with 5 passing, or maybe it is just 5 total. I remember the San Jose State game, he had 5, but I couldn't remember if that was 5 total or 5. I think that one was 5 total. But yeah, big day for Uiagalelei. For Cal, actually, Aiden Childs also got in a little bit in this one, completed both of his passes for 21 yards and a touchdown, getting some good work in the blowouts for the Beavers there. Their quarterback of the future, Aiden Childs is. For Cal, Fernando Mendoza, never even heard of that kid, but he was the starter and played the game for the Bears in this one, 21-32, 65.6%, 207, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 4 carries for 41 yards. Leading the game in a rushing, Beavers running back Damian Martinez, 17 carries, 89 yards, a touchdown. 3 total touchdowns for Cal running back Isaiah Ifanse. That is the South Dakota State transfer. No, Montana State transfer. I knew it was FCS. But yeah, excellent day for him. 11 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 9-yard receiving touchdown as well. 100-yard day for Oregon State wide receiver Anthony Gold, 7 receptions, 117 yards. Also big day for their tight end, Jack Velling, 4 receptions, 38 yards, a hat trick of touchdowns there. And defensively, I'm going to go with the top guy, I guess. Oregon State defensive back Keaton Oladapo, 11 tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. Oregon State -7.5 covers, over 51 by themselves, 92 in that game. And how about another Pac-12 after dark shootout? Number 9 USC clinging by their teeth to this 43-41 triple overtime win over Arizona. I'll say, man, Arizona has been feisty this year. They went up against the big boys and made it scary for Washington last week and USC this past weekend. So this team is on the up and up. And trying to think who Jed Fish, that's right. I couldn't remember who the head coach was. Jed Fish got this team rocking, and I think they're gonna go into the Big 12 next year and maybe do some stuff.
Yeah. I was going to bed like midnight, laying in bed, getting ready to snooze it off when I was scrolling through, checking the final scores on the day, and saw that this game was still on, and I just turned in for like the final play. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, Arizona is a good football team, for sure. I don't think, a competitive matchup is surprising, but for USC, like they're gonna have to play better, especially on the defensive side of the ball, if they ever want to compete with not just the college football playoff teams, but the better teams in their conference in the Pac-12. And they got a gauntlet coming up here, so they're gonna have to get right.
Yeah, and the AP poll keeps dropping them every week, so as they should. But I'm super excited. I put this kid Fafita on my prospect sheet after last week and this week combined. Kid's a redshirt sophomore, so Arizona's going to have him for at least 2 more years, or I guess 1 more year technically. But this kid's going to be good, and he's going to a conference that
did Delora get hurt?
I don't know what the issue is with Jaden Delora. I just know Fafita's started and played the games the last 2 weeks at least. Can't remember if he's played 3 weeks ago or not. I think Delora did, but I think Delora is hurt, as far as I know. Yeah. He is injured right now. He has a lower leg injury, week 4 against Stanford. So, yeah. But yeah, this kid Fafita, man, he's balling out. 25 of 35, 71.4%, 303, 5 touchdowns. Just the 1 interception, which isn't bad because, him and Caleb Williams, net 0 turnover margin there. And 9 carries for 12 yards. Caleb Williams, an odd night statistically for him, but he got a lot of help with Marshawn Lloyd on the ground. 14 to 25, 56%, 219, 1 touchdown, 12 carries, 41 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, though, for Williams. So he keeps his total touchdown numbers up, at least for him in the Heisman race. And I mentioned 1 fumble there. Big night on the ground for Wildcats running back Jonah Coleman. 100-yard night, 22 carries, 143 yards, 4 catches, 37 yards. Arizona wide receiver Tetaroa McMillan. Big night for him as well. 6 catches, 138 yards. And how about Arizona wide receiver Jacob Cowing? 10 receptions, 88 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the night. Unstoppable, Jacob Cowing in this game. Defensively, I'm going to go with USC defensive end Jamil Muhammad. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. Yeah, I turned this game on. I got home just as overtime was starting. I was driving home after work, and I was listening to it. They were like, oh, it's like a 25-yard field goal. Like, USC is going to get it here, win the game. And then I heard, oh, the snap is high. And the kick is no good. I was like, oh, no. But, yeah, then I got back right before overtime started, so I got to watch all 3 overtime periods, which was nice. Arizona, though, plus 21, covers easily, over 69.5. I believe that was the highest over that we had on the weekend, total we had on the weekend, and made it count, 84 in that game. And, of course, we had the FCS game of the week, which had even more points. I wish I would have watched this one, but number 11, Western Carolina, eking one out over number 24, Chattanooga, 52-50. And this was a big conference game in the SoCon. These two were the top 2 teams in the conference. WCU getting it done, though, and getting a big conference win. How about the quarterbacks? Chase Artopaeus there for UTC, 29-45, 64.4%, 399, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. Cole Gonzalez for the Catamounts here, 13-25, 52%, 276, 3 touchdowns. This kid, I put this kid on my my prospect sheet as well. The first FCS kid that I put on my sheet. Desmond Reed, the running back for Western Carolina, 15 carries, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. This kid has had over 100 yards every single game except for the first one, I believe. And it's been like not just over 100. Like he's been very far over 100. If I can find him relatively quickly here. Yeah, the kid's got so they played 5 games. This kid's got 847 yards, 12 touchdowns through 5 games.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The first game, which they got killed by Arkansas, of course, ran for 11 yards on 11 carries and 1 touchdown. But the subsequent games, 27 for 170 and a touchdown, 29 for 177 and a touchdown, 13 for 111 and 2 touchdowns, 18 for 167 and 5 touchdowns, and then this game, 15 for 211 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's some crazy efficiency too. Like his average on the season has to be insane.
7.5. And that's it. That's including the Arkansas game,
right?
Where he only had 1 yard. Yeah. So I am super hyped. I got to make sure I watch some Western Carolina tape, and I'm hoping that Mark can get his connections that he has from WCU, and maybe we can get Desmond Reed on the show.
Love it.
Anyways, a massive day as well through the air for Mocs wide receiver Javin Watley. 11 receptions, 231, 4 touchdowns. 2 touchdown day for Western Carolina wide receiver Sincere Lee as well. And defensively, FCS doesn't get tackle stats on ESPN, so though you do get interceptions, though. WCU linebacker Ed Jones IV, 48-yard pick 6. And this one was a walk-off win, actually. Western Carolina kicked a field goal to win the game at the buzzer. Chattanooga, plus 3.5. They covered over 60.5. A little bit easily. 102 there. London. An upset in London. How about the Jags going to the UK, coming back 2-0 in those games? A little bit tougher than last week, but 25-20 over the Bills. Upset no one saw coming, as we all picked Buffalo. Josh Allen, though, had a good game. Stat wise, 27 of 40, 67.5%, 359, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 carries for 14 yards and a touchdown. I was very happy with him on my fantasy team. Also played against him, which was not very fun. That's what you get when you have too many fantasy leagues. But Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence, very good day, despite the turnovers. 25 of 37, 67.6%, 315, 1 touchdown, 7 carries for 31 yards, 2 fumbles. And all they have to do, like I know I have Calvin Ridley in one of my dynasty leagues, but just run the ball. Just run the ball. Give number 1 the ball. Throw him the ball. Run it with him. Let him throw the ball sometime. Just give number 1 the ball. That's all you got to do. Because Travis Etienne Jr. Put himself on the international map in this game. 26 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 catches, 48 yards, 5 targets.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was picking this game, I think I underestimated the advantage of kind of the travel time and the fact that the Jags were, they're kind of the unofficial home team of Europe for the NFL, and they got to stay there back-to-back weeks. So, but I mean, credit the Jaguars defense. I think, I thought they played pretty well. You mentioned that Josh Allen, he still had a really good day, and that's going to happen when you're playing a guy like Josh Allen. But there were a number of points, especially in the second half, where the Bills put up a big play. It looked like they'd be marching, and then the Jags defense would just kind of buckle down, force a 3 and out, and force a field goal or a punt. So, yeah, I think that I was really encouraged by this, the Jags defensive performance here.
Yeah, and also Bills got crushed by a boatload of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll talk about those in a bit, but yeah, not good on that front. Also, the Bills couldn't run the ball. Josh Allen was their leading rusher with 14 yards. That was another big issue. But big games for 300-yard receivers in this one. 2 on Buffalo, 1 on Jacksonville. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley mentioned. Good day. 7 catches, 122 yards on 8 targets. Stephon Diggs, of course, having another great performance. 8 catches, 121 yards. 1 touchdown on 11 targets and a fumble. And then Bills wide receiver Gabe Davis, 6 catches, 100 yards, even 1 touchdown on 8 targets. Defensively, a lot of really solid performances here. I got to go with Bills defensive end AJ Epinesa, though. He did about everything he could to win the game for Buffalo. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 3 pass deflections, 2 QB hits. The Jags couldn't run a quick screen to save their life because 97, I believe that's his number, 97.
57, I think.
Is it 57? Whatever number he is, he was there every time they ran a quick screen to bat it down. Jags +5 win outright under 48.5. I didn't get hurt this week. The Steelers finally came through. I think this is the first time I lone wolfed the Steelers this year, and they won for me. 17-10 over the Ravens. To take that is the division, the AFC North leading Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way. Put some respect on their name. Lamar Jackson, 22 of 38, 57.9%, 236, 1 pick, 6 carries, 45 yards, and the game-ending fumble. Kenny Pickett, not bad, but not the greatest. 18 of 32, 56.3%, 224, 1 touchdown. All he had to do was throw to George Pickens, so that was good. Ravens running back Gus Edwards leading the game in rushing, 12 carries, 48 yards. And I mentioned Pickens there. Big day, 6 catches, 130 yards, a touchdown on 10 targets, also had a 16-yard carry. Double-digit target days for Ravens wide receivers Zay Flowers and tight end Mark Andrews. Flowers 5 for 73 on 11 targets. Andrews 6 for 65 on 10 targets. And then there's no one else that is the defensive player of the game. Pittsburgh linebacker TJ Watt. 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, 2 QB hits, and a fumble recovery to end the game.
Good day at the office.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, my takeaway from this game is that like I have no idea what the Ravens are. Like I know what the Steelers are. At least I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what the Steelers are. Like that defense is legit. That offense is not, and likely will continue to be as long as Matt Canada's the OC. But like it feels like we know kind of like what the Steelers are in terms of their identity. The Ravens, I don't know what's going on. It'll be like one week they look like the, regular competitive kind of team. We're looking like, old Lamar is like MVP caliber Lamar is coming back. The next week they look like they can barely beat, whoever they're across from, and they look rough. And that's what this game looks like. So, yeah, I mean, credit to the Steelers D for locking down. I think that they'll still be competitive because of that.
Well, look, Lamar, for one, the Steelers have won 6 out of the last 7 against the Ravens. And for 2, Lamar's only 2-4 against the Steelers in his career, and he's lost 3 straight. But he hasn't played in a lot of the Ravens Steelers over the last couple of years anyways, because he's been hurt. But yeah, I just lone wolf in this one. I just felt this was a rivalry game. The Steelers usually tend to beat the Ravens at home, so just took a swing, really. But yeah, it was a defensive standout and whatnot. But you got to get your wins in now, because there's a team in orange and black that's coming. And so you got to win now before they come.
Yep.
Steelers plus 4.5 win outright under 38.5. Lions. We don't have to talk about this game. 42-24 blowout over the Panthers in Detroit. Bryce Young, again, he's not looking terrible. It's just the turnovers. The turnovers continue to kill Bryce Young's days. Because if he doesn't have these, like, it's probably close. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, what makes me a little nervous is that, like, a lot of the turnovers, too. Well, I mean, first, he wasn't turnover prone at Bama. And the kind of turnovers he's making are kind of mistakes that he didn't make at Bama. So this is kind of uncharted territory when it comes to him. But at the same time, I mean, that offense isn't set up to help him, like, whatsoever. Like, the O-line has not played well all season. They don't have any real legit weapons, to be honest. Like,
Adam Thielen is having a resurgence, his career resurgence at 33.
Right. He's been playing fine, like good, but like if Adam Thielen's your wide receiver 1 in the year of our Lord 2023, it's gonna be a tough look. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll put it together. I think there's gonna be some growing pains, but yeah, I don't know. I need them to start winning though, because I don't want the Bears to have that number 1 overall pick via Carolina.
Well, I'm going to be in Chicago on November 9th for Thursday Night Football between the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers, and that might very well be for the number 1 overall pick. But, yeah, Bryce Young here, 25 of 41, 61%, 247, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jared Goff continues to be lights out. Another 4-touchdown game, 20 of 28, 71.4%, 236, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing score. Monty, David Montgomery continues to just roll. 19 carries, 109 yards, touchdown, 2 catches for 20 yards. No Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. No Amon-Ra St. Brown as well for Detroit. So running the ball once again against the good defensive front for Carolina. That's what they still do have in Carolina is a defensive front 7, even minus Shaq Thompson. Their front 7 is solid. The secondary is not so. Like I said, big day for Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen. 11 catches, 107 yards, touchdown on 13 targets. I'm pissed I dropped him in my standard league early, like week 1. After week 1, I dropped him because he didn't do anything, and I was like, I need some other people. And now I'm playing against them this week, which is fantastic. It's okay. The Panthers aren't going to – he might have a day because they're going to have to throw a lot playing Miami. So. Lions tight end Sam Laporta continues to be a revelation. Rookie out of Iowa, 3 catches, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns on 4 targets. And defensively, about the guy at the bottom, Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, 3 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 QB hit, and a one-handed interception on a tight end screen. The kid's just ridiculous. He's the only player, I forget the stat, I saw it somewhere on Twitter. He's the only player, or he's one of 2 players, I think, since 2021 to have, I think, 5 sacks and an interception each season or something like that. I don't know.
Right. And we're only through 5 weeks.
And he's only played since 2022.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yep. Just a really good football player. No bones about it.
Or no, I think it was maybe 10 sacks and 4 interceptions total. Something like that. I don't know. Go look it up if you want to. Lions minus 9.5 covers easily. Over 43.5. Colts. Big win here, 23-16 over the Titans. Divisional matchup. Also big after the Jags win. Sets up this weekend's matchup for the sole lead in the AFC South between the Jags and the Colts. Ryan Tannehill for Tennessee, 23-34, 67.6%, 264, 1 pick, 2 carries for 12 yards. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson going down in this game. 9 of 12, 75%, 98 yards. Minshew, though, this guy's crazy. He is built for the Shane Steichen offense. I don't know why he couldn't do this kind of stuff, though, in Philly when we started him for 2 games last year and he lost. But anyways, 11 of 14, 78.6%, 155 yards for Minshew in relief of Richardson. Jonathan Taylor, who? Did you know Jonathan Taylor was back for this game? Because I didn't, based off what I saw here.
Yeah.
I think Zach Moss said, "Where's my contract?"
Yeah. I think he got 5 snaps, got his feet wet. But yeah, Zach Moss, legacy game.
I believe Taylor had 6 carries for about 11 yards. Zach Moss, though, 23 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 30 yards. They should just trade him. Why not? You get a 2nd-round pick for him at this point. I don't remember how much they paid for him originally. And, of course, Titans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins leading the game in receiving like everyone thought he would. Of course, the best game of the season for Hop comes the week I am playing against him. It was just perfect.
I sat him, so
As you should have.
right, yeah. He just decides to be a PPR machine.
I
Finally,
guess we should have known though. You know, back in the AFC South, loves to play against the divisional opponents. I don't know what his stats are against the Colts historically while he was with Houston. Um, so yeah. I mean, there were some bad games, but overall, he averages against the Colts in his career, which he never played against the Colts while he was a Cardinal, which was very intriguing. But he averages 6 catches for 85 yards and 0.4 touchdowns. But he has 85 receptions for 1,193 yards and 6 touchdowns against the Colts in his career. Anyways. 8 for 140, 11 targets for Hop there. I was pissed. I sat Josh Downs. Luckily, it didn't hurt me this week, thankfully. Starting him this week, though, for sure. And my defensive player of the game is a guy that didn't have any tackles. Colts defensive end Tyquan Lewis, 1 pass deflection, 3 QB hits. Colts plus 2.5 win outright under 43.5. Yeah. Saints 34 zip over the Patriots. And this is why I lost my fantasy matchup. I started the wrong defense, apparently.
yeah.
Patriots over the Saints is what I had. But yeah, the Patriots are not good. I'm never picking the Patriots again on this podcast this year. Not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah, I feel for our boy Darius. And yeah, I on waivers last week I chose the Commanders defense over the Saints defense on waivers.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up starting the Commanders against
That's
the Bears, who ended up just shredding Washington's defense somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I played then the Saints defense, which put up like 30. But yeah, I mean, it's very clear that the Mac Jones experiment did not work. Shocker, considering that possibly the best wide receiver he's played with during his time is Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
And like Hunter Henry. Like, who could have seen this coming? But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me, and I think it all stems back to they spent a bunch of money in free agency on the offensive side of the ball, but they didn't do it wisely. I think that was when they got Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, and I don't know if that was also the Devontae Parker signing or not.
This year.
But anyways, like the process makes sense because I'm convinced that Bill Belichick could scheme up a good defense with pretty much anybody out there. So it makes sense that you'd put more money into the offensive side of the ball because they've had some struggles with OCs there. You want your talent there. The issue is that they did not find talent with those resources. And Mac Jones is a guy who needs guys around him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the Patriots haven't had even like a B draft in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So like, and they haven't been able to develop the players that they do draft into quality starters. at least offensively. I mean, defensively, they've hit some gems like Jawan Bentley and some of the secondary guys that they've drafted, but it's like Bill does not know how to draft offensively, and I don't know if that's one thing I kind of want to correlate it to is Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio left for the Texans job a couple years ago, right? And now, it's been really Bill and no one else. I can't remember who the actual like front office person is that took Caserio's spot, but it hasn't been good. And I mean, the Patriots will never fire Bill. At least I don't think so. Because of how much respect Robert Kraft has for him, but
yeah,
it might be a forced retirement kind of situation soon.
Yeah, well, at least in terms of the front office stuff that he does, I think it's time they kind of take back some control there over some personnel decisions. I think he's still a great coach. Like I said, I think he's still a great defensive mind. But yeah, this is probably the team with the most stark contrast between the different sides of the ball. And their ability to play on different sides of the ball. They're playing the most uncomplimentary football I think I might have ever seen. So, yeah.
Well, and it also doesn't make sense because the first 2 weeks of the season, they played very well offensively. Mac threw for 300 in each game. They won one, lost one. Like, where has that gone? Yeah. I don't understand, like, what happened week 3 through 5. Other than week 4, they played the Cowboys defense, which now that's not even an excuse because they just got blown up by the 49ers. Granted, the 49ers are the 49ers, but still, it's not as much of an excuse when you see a team just annihilating the Cowboys defense.
Right. When they can be taken care of.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I just can't understand how, even though Bailey Zappi really hasn't played well in the relief appearances the last 2 weeks, I just don't understand how you can sit there and continue to say Mac Jones your starting quarterback.
Yeah. So, I wonder how different the Patriots look if they had taken Howell instead of Zappi, which is another decision that never made any sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, even though I'm impartial, I love my boy Zappi, but he was phenomenal at Western Kentucky, broke the single season passing yards record. So not that matters in NFL. Anyways, into the stats of this game. We talked a lot about the Patriots. Derek Carr, though, 18 of 26, 69.2%, 183, 2 touchdowns. I started the Patriots defense because last week Derek Carr couldn't throw the ball more than 7 yards, and this week he had about a 10-yard average per completion, so that's on me. Mac Jones, 12 of 22, 54.5%, 110, but the turnovers just killers. 2 picks, 1 fumble. Bailey Zappi, like I mentioned, came in 3 of 9, 33.3%, 22 yards. Alvin Kamara, 22 carries, 80 yards, touchdown, leading the game in rushing, 3 catches, 17 yards. Patriots couldn't run the ball, which has been weird. Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas leading the game in receiving, 4 catches, 65 yards on 7 targets. And then defensively, I'm going to go with the guy that had the touchdown. Saints safety Tyrann Mathieu, 27-yard pick 6. Carl Grandison also A+ performance for him. Saints +2 win outright under 38.5. Falcons walking it off with Younghoe Koo 21-19 over the Texans. I was pissed because you lone wolfed the Falcons, I believe. And Texans had it. They had it in the bag. All they had to do was get 1 stop against friggin' Desmond Ridder, who everyone says sucks. And then Desmond Ridder does this. Goes 28 of 37, 75.7%, ultra efficient, 329, 1 touchdown, 4 carries, 10 yards, rushing score as well. So tell me why Desmond Ridder sucks, because didn't look like it in this game.
I can't figure it out, man. Like it's like he either plays really well or like really just really pedestrian, like really bad. So I mean, he's obviously done enough to continue, you know, getting starts and getting continuing to try and prove himself. And if he keeps putting these together, I mean, he can prove he's the franchise guy for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's the Falcons are such an interesting team, man. It's just so weird because at times I get so frustrated with kind of the offense and maybe inability to get certain playmakers the ball. But I mean, they are a pretty competitive football team. So,
well, and this is the first game, I think, of the season that you really saw the full offense. Now, they weren't really able to run the ball as much as they have been. You see Bijan, their leading rusher there, just 3.3 yards per carry. But you saw Drake London had a big day. Kyle Pitts had a big day. Jonnu Smith had a good day as well, like he's been doing. But you saw all the weapons finally get involved and have synergy kind of. So I'll see if that carries over to the next couple for Atlanta there. CJ Stroud, not bad, but just not enough to win the game here. 20 of 35, 57.1%, 249, 1 touchdown. I still think he's probably the leader for Offensive Rookie of the Year still.
yeah,
especially with Richardson going down. And Bijan had a so-so day in this one, so
yeah. You know, I've been super impressed with Stroud. I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot of the Texans games, but when I can, I do, and I try to go back and watch him too. And he looks like an NFL quarterback. And he's been able to do some really good things in not great positions. I mean, I don't think they've had a healthy O-line all year. At one point, they were out like their 5 preferred starters, like their entire starting O-line was hurt. And this is, you know, for a guy coming out who was considered more of a pocket passer. They're like, you kind of have to do that. But for his ability to weather all of that stuff and still consistently look decent has been pretty impressive. So goes to him. And he had that clutch throw to Schultz in this one. So I don't know. It's just his composure has been really impressive so far.
Texans running back Dameon Pierce led the game in rushing, 20 carries, 66 yards, 1 16-yard reception as well. Mentioned Bijan, even though he had a down stats day, he still put up a highlight with the one-handed, almost behind the back catch that he scored on. So there's that. Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts led the game in receiving, 7 catches, 87 yards, 11 targets, double-digit targets for Texans tight end Dalton Schultz, like you mentioned as well, 7 catches, 65 yards, touchdown on 10 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with Texans linebacker Blake Cashman, 9 tackles, 5 of them solos, 2 tackles for loss, QB hit. Texans plus 2.5. They covered by the hook, which Jimmy's lucky. I'm a very nice person because on Friday it was plus 2, so I was going to give him a tie on his dog pick, but I gave him the win on the cover. So you're welcome, Jimmy. That's the only present you'll get because the Penguins are killing the Blackhawks tonight. Under 42.
All right, brother, man. I gotta hop off.
All right, man.
Talk to you later. See ya.
Dolphins 31-16 over the Giants. Tua Tagovailoa. I was pissed he had 2 picks, but Good day overall for Miami's offense. 22 of 30, 73.3%. 308, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Daniel Jones got injured in this one for New York, but efficient on the day nonetheless. 14 of 20, 70%, 119, 4 carries for 24 yards. Tyrod Taylor came in at the end there once Jones was out. 9 of 12, 75%, 86 yards, 3 carries, 14 yards. Rookie running back Devon Achane led the game in rushing. Another massive day, 11 carries, 151 yards, 1 touchdown, a fumble, and a 14-yard reception, which he got injured in this game as well. So bad news. We'll talk about that in a sec. Another big performance by Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. 8 catches, 181 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. Double-digit target days for Giants tight end Darren Waller and Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Of course, Waller didn't do anything last week, and then this week he pops off on my bench in fantasy. 8 catches, 86 yards on 11 targets for Waller. Waddle, 5 catches, 35 yards, a touchdown on 10 targets. A lot of good defensive performances in this game. I'm going to mention 2 of them. Dolphins defensive tackle Zach Seiler, 7 tackles, 6 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits. And then the defensive touchdown, Giants safety Jason Pinnock, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 1 pass deflection, and a 102-yard pick 6. Dolphins, minus 12.5. They covered under 48 by 1. Eagles, go Birds, 5-0. 1 of 2 remaining undefeateds, 23-14 over the Rams in LA. Jalen Hurts, excellent game for him, 25 of 38, 65.8%, 303, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 15 carries, 72 yards, and a rushing score as well. Matt Stafford, 21 of 37, 56.8%, 222, 2 touchdowns. Eagles running back DeAndre Swift led the game in rushing outside of Jalen Hurts there. 17 carries, 70 yards, a touchdown. 6 receptions, 38 yards on 6 targets. Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown, another great day for him. 6 catches, 127 yards on 8 targets. How about the return of Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp? 8 catches, 118 yards on 12 targets. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert had his best game of the season as well. 8 catches, 117 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets. And then, of course, Rams rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua, another double-digit target day for him, 7 for 71 and a touchdown on 11 targets. Defensively, I'm going to go with the bottom 2 guys. Eagles rookie defensive tackle Jalen Carter, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. And then linebacker Hassan Reddick, who I really haven't noticed much early in the season until this game. 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 3 QB hits. Eagles, minus 3.5. They covered under 50.5. Bengals are back, baby, 2-3. Rolling along here, 34-20 over the Cardinals. Joe Burrow was just outstanding. 36 of 46, 78.3%, 317, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Josh Dobbs is playing so well. The turnovers killed him in this game, but he's really kept this Cardinals team in competition each and every week so far, despite just the 1 win showing for it. 15 of 32, 46.9%, 166, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a fumble. Bengals running back Joe Mixon led the game in rushing, 25 carries, 81 yards, 4 catches for 13 yards. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase broke the single game receptions record for the Bengals. 15 receptions, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns on 19 targets. Thank the Lord I wasn't playing against him in fantasy this week. Cardinals wide receiver Marquise Brown and Bengals wide receiver Trenton Irwin, double-digit targets for them. Brown, 4 catches, 61 yards, touchdown on 10 targets. Irwin, big day, 8 catches, 60 yards on 10 targets as well. Wide receiver Rondale Moore led the Cardinals in rushing. 3 receptions, 26 yards on 5 targets in the passing game. 3 carries for 50 yards in the rushing game. And then defensively, I'm going to go again with 2 guys. Bottom 2 there. Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson pressuring Dobbs all day. 4 tackles, 2 solos, 2.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 QB hits. And then Bengals corner Cam Taylor-Britt, 1 tackle, 1 solo, 2 pass deflections, and 11-yard pick 6. Bengals -3 covered easily over 45.5. Jets 31-21 over the Broncos. Zach Wilson, 19 of 26, 73.1%, 199, one pick, 3 carries for 26 yards. Did not do enough to win me my fantasy matchup. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. You are off my roster. Russell Wilson, though, probably his worst game of the season, 20 of 31, 64.5%, 196, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries, 49 yards, and a fumble. But this was the Breece Hall game, as I knew it would be. That's why I traded for him in 2 different leagues, one just on Sunday morning, which, sorry, Jeff, but I have to say that it was very nice to trade James Conner 1-for-1 Breece Hall, and then James Conner get injured the same day. Hope Conner gets better, but it was a very nice trade for myself. Breece Hall, though, 22 carries, 177 yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions for 17 yards. Jets tight end Tyler Conklin led the game in receiving, 4 catches, 67 yards on 5 targets. Whole host of defensive performances in this one. I got to go with the guy that scored a defensive touchdown, though. Jets corner Bryce Hall, 4 tackles, all of them solos, and a 39-yard fumble return for a touchdown. Which was crazy because I texted our former co-host there, Chris Cherry, about the game, and I was like, I would love a defensive touchdown right about now, or special teams touchdown. About 4 minutes later, Russell Wilson fumbles. Bryce Hall takes it in for a score to help my Jets defense in one of my leagues. So that was crazy to call. But the Jets +2.5, they went outright over 43. How about the Chiefs? 4-1, 27-20 over the Vikings. Close one in Minneapolis, but Kansas City gets it done. Kirk Cousins, 29 of 47, 61.7%, 284, 2 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes, 31 of 41, 75.6%, 281, 2 touchdowns. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco leading the game in rushing, 16 carries, 55 yards, a touchdown, and a 9-yard reception. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce got dinged up in this one, but still led the game in receiving, 10 receptions, 67 yards, a touchdown on 11 targets. And defensively, gotta go with Chiefs corner Trent McDuffie. Big day for the second-year corner, 6 tackles, all of them solos, 3 pass deflections, 3 QB hits. Chiefs -3.5 covered, under 52.5. Sunday Night Football, the Niners just demolishing Dallas 42-10 over the Cowboys. 5-0. The Niners, the only other team other than the Eagles to be undefeated still. Brock Purdy was electric, 17 of 24, 70.8%, 252, 4 touchdowns, career high there. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott struggled all night, 14 of 24, 58.3%, 153, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, just crushed the Dallas offense. How about 49ers running back Jordan Mason leading the game in rushing, 10 carries, 69 yards, a touchdown. CMC, not the greatest night for him, but 49ers tight end George Kittle, massive night for him. 3 catches, 67 yards, leading the game in receiving, 3 touchdowns on those 3 catches and 4 targets. And then defensively, I got to go with the guy that was absolutely everywhere on Sunday nights. 49ers linebacker Fred Warner. 8 tackles, 5 of them solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 QB hit, and a pick. Him and Dre Greenlaw were just outstanding for the 49ers Sunday night. Niners -3.5 covered easily over 45.5. Monday Night Football here, the Raiders getting their second win of the season, 17-13 over the Packers. Jimmy Garoppolo, 22 of 31, 71%, 208, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Jordan Love, the interceptions was the thing that crushed Green Bay's hopes. 16 of 30, 53.3%, 182, 3 picks, 2 carries for 37 yards. Packers running back A.J. Dillon led the game in rushing, 20 carries, 76 yards, a touchdown. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson leading the game in receiving, 3 catches, 91 yards on 7 targets. And then how about Raiders wide receiver Jacoby Myers, double-digit target night for him. 7 for 75, a touchdown on 10 targets. Very excited. And we have frozen once again. But very excited that Devontae Adams struggled all night. Ended up with about, I think, 8 fantasy points, something like that. I could only allow 15, which was so nice. Used the reverse psychology as my people hate me doing in fantasy, and got the win as I clenched at the start of the fourth quarter because Devontae had caught 3 straight passes to end the third quarter. So that was a good night anyways. Defensive player of the game, Max Crosby. Him and Robert Spillane were the catalysts for that Raiders defense there. But Robert Spillane there, 9 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass deflections, and 2 picks. Max Crosby, 5 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Yeah, those 2 were monsters all night. Raiders, -1 covered, under 45. Let's get to the news here. College football, the NCAA is discussing possible NIL changes that would allow schools to be more involved in the process. So the proposed changes on this ESPN article, you can go look it up to get more info. But the proposed changes would allow these schools to both proactively assist in the development and creation of NIL activity, provide services such as tax preparation and contract review, provide access to equipment such as cameras, podcast studios, etc. for NIL activity, and communicate with school sponsors about NIL opportunities for their athletes, including securing specific opportunities. So I think it's going to be great if this does end up happening and getting passed, because I think it's going to create a lot more structure within the NIL space. Schools are going to be able to actually create opportunities for the student athletes than just what they do now, which is approve them or deny them based off the contracts that they bring to the school to review. And also, I think in the NIL agent space, it will create a lot of more barriers for kind of sleazeball agents to kind of, get more commission than what the going rate is. And that kind of stuff, as we've seen all kinds of weird stuff happen with immoral agents there. And we had a trade today in the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons trading wide receiver Van Jefferson and a 2025 7th-round pick from the Rams for a 2025 6th-round selection. Van Jefferson really not being used as the emergence of 5th-round rookie wide receiver Puka Nacua has happened. Played 2 offensive snaps this past weekend. So new change of scenery there for Van Jefferson. They're hoping they can get the 2021 version of Van, which I believe had like 800 something yards on 60 receptions or something like that. So that's what the Falcons are hoping they get in this low cost move for Van Jefferson. I like it. The Falcons needed more weapons outside of Drake London. So I think they're going to get that. It's an improvement over the likes of Mac Hollins, who was currently their number 2 wide receiver. So I do like this move for Atlanta, and I'm going to go get Van Jefferson in fantasy, hopefully. Other news here, the Broncos. So they traded Randy Gregory last week to the Niners. Could be even more active at the Halloween trade deadline, depending on how the next couple of weeks go on the field. They've been getting a lot of calls about some players. I know Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy are always talking points for teams. I would assume Javonte Williams is in that mix as well, and also I could see some of the defensive players getting called about as well. Justin Simmons, Pat Surtain, and Josie Jewell even I could see teams calling about possibly. So make sure you monitor the Broncos heading into the trade deadline in a couple weeks here. How about the Steelers? Former Bucs offense coordinator Byron Leftwich has reached out to the Steelers about a possible role within the organization. I think that would be a fantastic option to replace Matt Canada if the Steelers do go in that route during the bye week this weekend. Byron Leftwich, great offensive coordinator in Tampa and even Arizona, both with Bruce Arians at the helm. Played for the Steelers as well, so he would be a welcome addition to Pittsburgh. Fans really liked Byron Leftwich, back up to Big Ben for years, so I would not have an issue with replacing Matt Canada with Byron Leftwich if that occurs. The Jets are looking at options for wide receiver Mecole Hardman, including possibly trading him. Signed a 1 year, I believe, $4.4 million deal this year. With 2-point-something million in escalators. Just has not really done anything on offense and has gotten marred in the depth chart. So could possibly see if they can get anything out of him. If not, though, they might release him in the short term. The Jags, during the London game, they got left tackle Cam Robinson back from IR, played pretty well. Got a holding call, though, and I believe got dinged up as well. So we'll have to see how he plays the next couple of games back from IR. A couple teams opening practice windows for IR guys. Eagles opening their practice window for linebacker Nakobe Dean. Broncos doing the same for tight end Greg Dulcich. And the Patriots doing the same for wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. So a bunch of young players getting back on the practice field. Guys being placed on IR, Jags placing rookie wide receiver Parker Washington on IR, their main punt returner. So Jamal Agnew going back there to his old role. And the Vikings placed wide receiver Justin Jefferson on IR today. Hamstring injury happened this weekend against the Chiefs. Could be out even longer, though, is what Rappaport said, because contract situation didn't get what he wanted in the offseason. And if the team is playing poorly and they don't have a good record, why would you want to come back when he is healthy? So make sure you monitor that one. Injuries, a lot of them this weekend. A lot of stars getting injured. Steelers linebacker TJ Watt suffered a tears. May need surgery in the offseason, but this man is a beast. Popped his finger back in, went back out there. That is how tough TJ Watt is, and on track to win Defensive Player of the Year once again this season. Patriots linebacker Matt Judon, recovering from his bicep surgery, may still be able to return in December. We'll have to see when it gets to that point if he can come back for the Patriots, where they will be in the standings. Who knows? Bills, I mentioned they had a lot of injuries. Big one, though, they lost linebacker Matt Milano for the year, fractured his leg, and also may have an ACL tear as well. Definitely out for the season, though. Big loss in the middle of that Buffalo defense a week after they lost corner Tre'Davious White to an Achilles tear. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce has a low ankle sprain, so short turnaround to Thursday Night Football. But I think we will see him on Thursday. We'll have to wait, though, and see how the practices go. Colts rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson, he has a grade 3 AC joint sprain. He's going to be out about a month, so possibly going to go on IR. Is Richardson. Gardner Minshew starting in his place now. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has a neck contusion, almost similar to what he had last year, or 2 years ago, I mean. Head coach Brian Daboll, though, said he is optimistic that Jones will play on Sunday Night Football against Buffalo. Jets, big loss once again for them. Offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker initially thought a good thing when going into the MRI. They thought it was just a calf issue, not an Achilles. Ended up, MRI showed torn Achilles. He is out for the year, is AVT. Lions cornerback Emmanuel Mosley, just terrible news for him. Tore his right ACL and is out for the season. in the first game back from tearing his left ACL last year with the 49ers. Just terrible news for Emmanuel Mosley there. Cowboys wide receiver Cavante Turpin, he is out 4 to 6 weeks. He has a high ankle sprain, probably going to go on IR there. Cowboys losing special teamer CJ Goodwin for the season. He has a torn pec. Also having a torn pec, Bills defensive tackle Daquan Jones out for the season as well. Dolphins rookie running back Devon Achane, he is week to week with a knee injury, possibly going to go on IR. We'll see. Cowboys linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, he has a neck injury, has had neck problems in the past, so not very good for Vander Esch. They're probably going to may land him on IR though. And good news, Chargers running back Austin Eckler saying that he is 99% sure he will play and make his return to the field on Monday Night Football against the Cowboys. Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll hoping that safety Jamal Adams can be back from his concussion this week. Packers linebacker Quay Walker, he has a knee injury sustained last night, so we'll see what that is. Commanders defensive back Jeremy Reeves, 2022 special teamer, Pro Bowl special teamer, partially tore his ACL on Thursday night, could be out the rest of the season. And then Cardinals losing running back James Conner for multiple weeks with a knee injury. They placed him on IR today. Extension. So we mentioned Jonathan Taylor in the Colts game. Recap, he signed a 3-year, $42 million extension. $26.5 million guaranteed prior to the game on Sunday. So that was nice to see JT getting his bag, even though he did not play very well in his first game back. Couple releases, guys landing on their feet, though. 49ers releasing defensive lineman Kerry Hyder Jr. as part of the Randy Gregory trade. He has now signed to the Texans practice squad. And the Saints, they waived running back Tony Jones. He has now landed on the Cardinals as they claimed him off of waivers. Couple workouts to mention. The Colts, they worked out quarterbacks in the front of Anthony Richardson injury, working out quarterbacks Kellen Mond, Ian Book, Holton Ahlers, and Trace McSorley. Vikings, they worked out a bunch of players, including quarterback Colt McCoy. And the Jets, they worked out offensive tackle Lyle Collins, previously with the Cowboys and Bengals. Could use him a lot. Probably the best lineman available on the free agent market right now. He is visiting with the Giants next. And one USFL to NFL to note, the Falcons, they worked out all USFL Maulers, all USFL safety Arnold Tarpley III. So we'll see if he signs and gets suited up for Atlanta. Pick standings. I don't know why I still have 2022 on there, but anyways, here it is. 3-2 for Jimmy, 2-3 for Logan and I. I think originally I had the wrong stuff on there. I can't remember though. But anyways, all lost last week. The Commanders did not do it for us against the Bears. But we're all in lockstep again this week, even though Logan and I are just one game back of Jimmy. We're all on Kansas City. The Broncos head to KC on Thursday. 10.5 points for the defending Super Bowl champs at home. Should be, I don't know if it's an easy cover because it's the divisional game, but and I wouldn't be shocked if Rush just like puts on a show in prime time. But we're rolling with the Chiefs. They're the better team overall and should win this one pretty handily. Total is 47.5. I actually like the over in that game. 8:15 on Prime Video. That is the show for today, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Next week, we'll be talking NFL Week 7. We'll get you all your game recaps from around college football and the NFL. And preview this Thursday night matchup, Jags at the Saints. So hopefully might get my mentee on, Jags fan there. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, at FAA_bets on X as well, FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify at Football Addicts Anon on TikTok. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all back for Football Friday.